We've all seen them, right? In supermarkets, at the florist. Hey, maybe there's one sitting on your desk right now. The orchid. It's beautiful, it's elegant, and it's everywhere. But what if I told you that behind that perfect flower is this incredible story of dangerous jungle expeditions, huge scientific breakthroughs, and a human obsession that goes back 4,000 years? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the secret life of the supermarket orchid. Okay, first, a quick question for you. And let's be honest, have you ever been gifted an orchid, you enjoy the beautiful flowers for a few months, and then once that last petal drops, you just kind of toss it in the bin? If you said yes, hey, you are not alone. This right here is the moth orchid, or a phalaenopsis, and it's one of the most popular houseplants in the entire world. And here's the thing. They're often sold with basically no care instructions, which makes them feel, well, disposable. But that could not be further from the truth. That plant's journey to get to you is a story for the ages. So, to really understand the orchid in your home, we have to go back. Way back, long before it was a supermarket staple, this plant was an object of a truly global obsession. You know, our fascination with orchids goes back thousands of years, starting out as an ingredient in Chinese medicine. Fast forward to the 18th century, and their scientific curiosities in places like England's famous Kew Gardens. But it was the 19th century, that's when things got absolutely wild, kicking off a full-blown craze known as orchid delirium. And when I say craze, I mean sheer mania. During Orchidilarium, wealthy Victorians were funding these incredibly dangerous expeditions, sending so-called orchid hunters deep into remote jungles. And their mission? Bring back the most exotic, the most beautiful species, no matter the cost. The competition was totally fierce, and honestly, it was a brutal, brutal business. This whole era was just full of contradictions. I mean, on the one hand, you had this amazing dedication to science and art, captured in these stunningly detailed botanical drawings. But on the other hand, the reality of how they got them was just destructive. Countless plants were just ripped from their homes, and most of them never even survived the journey. So how on earth did we get from these priceless treasures hunted in the wild to a plant you can buy for less than a movie ticket? Well, the answer isn't in a jungle, it's in a laboratory. So in the 20th century, scientists finally cracked the code to mass-producing orchids. They figured out how to grow their tiny, dust-like seeds in sterile lab jars on this special nutrient-rich gel called agar. And then came cloning techniques, which let them create millions and millions of identical, perfect plants. And that breakthrough in the lab, it paved the way for what you could call the Silicon Age of orchid production. Today, these plants are grown in enormous, high-tech greenhouses with computer-controlled environments, conveyor belts, fully automated systems for pretty much everything. The scale is just staggering. It's hard to wrap your head around. This industrial process means millions upon millions of plants can be produced every single year with very little human involvement. And that massive scale is what completely changed the game. It's why the cost plummeted and why orchids are now available to everyone. But here's the thing. The moth orchid, for all its popularity, is just one member of a truly gigantic and fascinating plant family. Thinking of it as just an orchid is kind of like thinking of a lion as just a cat. There's a whole world to discover here. The orchid family is one of the largest on the entire planet. We're talking over 30,000 different species and hundreds of thousands of hybrids. They come in pretty much every shape and color you can imagine, except for a true black, that is. Some smell amazing, some look totally alien, and as it turns out, some are surprisingly delicious. Okay, get this. Did you know that vanilla comes from an orchid? That's right. The vanilla planifolia orchid produces these long pods, which give us one of the most popular and expensive flavorings in the whole world. Crazy, right? And you know, it's not always about the flowers. Check out the jewel orchid. This one is grown for its incredible foliage. The leaves look like dark green velvet that's been threaded with these sparkling gold veins. I mean, with leaves like these, who even cares about the flowers? And then there's this one, Darwin's orchid. When Charles Darwin saw this flower from Madagascar with its ridiculously long nectar tube, he predicted that there had to be a moth with the tongue long enough to reach it. People thought he was nuts at the time, but decades later, guess what? A hawk moth with a crazy long proboscis was discovered, and he was proven right. How cool is that? So let's bring all of this, the history, the science, the incredible diversity, let's bring it all back to that one orchid that might be sitting on your windowsill right now. Because that plant, It's really the end result of an epic journey. It's a mass-produced marvel, born in a lab and raised in a factory. But it is also a piece of living history, a direct descendant of those same wild plants that drove collectors to obsession hundreds of years ago. So, the next time you look at a supermarket orchid, please don't just see a disposable decoration. See the survivor. It represents a 4,000-year story of human obsession, of perilous exploration, and of brilliant scientific innovation, all of it culminating in that one perfect, elegant flower. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a simple houseplant has a story this rich, what other secrets are hiding in the everyday objects all around us? What other stories are just out there, hiding in plain sight?